So, I was reading this evening when I got home from work, and I realized, the Father says He would send us another comforter. Well, I think I figured out what it was referring to as a metaphor, because it actually speaks in the book of Nahum. It says, author, the name of this prophet signifies a comforter in the book of the vision of Nahum. So what I realized was the theme is God is good and a refuge in times of trouble. And it talks about God's vengeance and goodness and the burden of Nineveh. It says, the burden of Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum, the Elkoshite, God is jealous and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries. He reserveth wrath for his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not acquit all the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. You have to remember, he's not the storm itself, but he has his way in what man creates. He rebuketh the sea and maketh dry, and drieth up the rivers. Bashan languish, Carmel and the flowers of Lebanon languish. The mountains quake at him, the hills melt. The earth is burned at his presence, yea, the world and all that dwell therein. Who can stand before his indignation? And who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and rocks are thrown down by him. See, it says poured out like fire. It's not fire itself. And I don't remember where it is, but it talks about a strange fire too. That's not of the Father. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trusteth in him. But with an overrunning flood, he will make an utter end of the place thereof, and the darkness shall pursue his enemies. What do you imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up a second time. It already rose once, not a second. For while he foldeth together his thorns, together his thorns, and while they are drunken as drunkards, they shall be devoured as stubble fully dry. God's not mocked. There is one cometh out of thee that imagineth evil against the Lord, a wicked counselor. And remember, they may appear good, but they're not. Thus saith the Lord, though they be quiet, and likewise many, thus shall they be cut down when he shall pass through. Though I have afflicted thee, I will afflict thee no more. For now I will break his yoke from off of thee, and will burst thy bonds in sunder. When it talks about breaking the yoke, let me see if I can find this real quick, because I found these interesting things. And I made notes. Hosea 11, it says, I drew them with cords of a man, in bands of love. I was to them as they that take off the yoke off their jaws, and laid unto them meat. Cords means travail, pain of travail. And the word in the thing actually talks about kindness, but it means Adam, man. So travail by man, judgment for disobeying the Father and not following him. But with ropes of kindness, it talks about bands of love. Well, love, to love, is loyalty, faithfulness, and I was writing this fast. If I can read this. It's talking about action. Loyalty, faithful, and action. And you got to remember, you got to renew your mind daily, for your thoughts become your actions. The ropes is a wath, is the word, ab being father, oth, watch this, a sign, a token, a mark. Bands of love. I don't remember, and that's also another Bible verse where it talks about they'll throw the bands away from us and breaking the cords. Well, they don't want the travail, but they also don't want the Father's love. They don't want either of them. They want to live in their own way. They don't want destruction, but they don't want God's love either. They reject that. Okay, and this is verse 14. And the Lord hath given a commandment concerning thee, that no more of thy name be sown out of the house of thy gods, little g gods, will I cut off the graven image and the molten image. They're fake. They're not real. I will make thy grave, for thou art vile. Behold, upon the mountains of the feet of them that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth peace, the city of peace. All you have to do is accept it. It's already paid for. It's a gift from God. Don't reject the gift. It's rejection of God. O Judah, keep thy solemn feasts, perform thy vows, for the wicked shall no more pass through thee. He is utterly cut off. No more. Once that debt is paid, that's it. Then it talks about the siege of Nineveh. He that dasheth in pieces is come up before thy face. Keep the munition, watch the way, make thy loins strong, fortify thy power mightily. For the Lord hath turned away the excellency of Jacob and the excellency of Israel, for the emptiers have emptied them out and marred their vine branches. The shield of his mighty men is made red. The valiant men are in scarlet, and the chariots be with flaming torches in the day of his preparation, and the fir trees shall be terribly shaken. On this next part, he was trying to describe what he saw, but he couldn't put it into words, so he used the best words that he could use. The chariots shall rage in the streets. They shall jostle one against another in the broad ways. They shall seem like torches. They shall run like the lightnings. Have you guys realized that's speaking of cars? Literally, you see the cars raging in the streets, and they're wrecking into one another. And if you think of like the headlights and stuff, like torches, even in the mufflers that come out, the tailpipe, they're stinging their tails. They're describing vehicles. The next verse is verse 5. He shall recount his worthiness. They shall stumble in their walk. They shall make haste to the wall thereof, and the defense shall be prepared. The gates of the river shall be opened, and the palaces shall be dissolved. And Hezebah shall be led away captive. She shall be brought up, and her maids shall lead her with the voice of doves, tabering on their breast. But Nineveh is of old like a pool of water, yet they shall flee away. Stand, stand, shall they cry, but none shall look back. Take ye the spoil of silver, take the spoil of gold, for there is none end of their store and glory out of all the pleasant furniture. She is empty and void and waste, and the heart melteth, and knees smite together, and much pain is in her all her loins, and the faces of them gather with blackness, where the dwelling of the lions and feeding place of young lions, where the lion, even the old lion, walk, and the lions, well, none make them afraid. The lion did tear in pieces enough for his whelps, and strangled for his lionesses, and filled the holes with prey, and his dens with ravine. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts. I will burn her chariots into smoke, and the sword shall devour thy young lions, and I will cut off from the prey from the earth, and the voice of thy messengers shall no more be heard. Do you see the new Comforter? When we obey the Father, turn to Him, trust Him, love Him, and love one another, fulfilling the law of old, for love doeth no wrong, there is sure destruction.